Yes, yes, everyone. So, we know on the Hanuman Regiment, building your knowledge is key. I want to go into building knowledge today, because building knowledge is key, but building knowledge without actioning that knowledge that you have learned is detrimental. And sometimes it's a waste of time. What do I mean? So, as I think I've spoken about before, there are people out there who are far less knowledgeable than you and far more successful than you. And that's simply because they have used the stuff they know better than you have used the stuff that you know. There are other factors like opportunities, family and stuff, but we're looking at there's definitely a guy out there who was in the same position as you but knew less and is now making more successful and doing the stuff that you would want to be doing. So I want to break it down like this. The way I view knowledge, knowledge is potential for success. It's only potential. What do I mean by that? Imagine the knowledge is like you pulling back a slingshot, right? The more knowledge you get, the further back that slingshot is getting pulled, right? You see what I'm saying? So now if I'm building knowledge, I'm building my success potentials. Why? Because as I pull back that slingshot, and then when I eventually let it go, it's going to go further. Of course, you can reload. You can learn something, let it go, reload the slingshot, go further. There are different ways you can do it. But the point is, the knowledge is only the slingshot, is only the potential. Do you know what I'm saying? The actual action and you using your knowledge is when you let the slingshot go. So of course, there's going to be a period of time that you spend pulling back that slingshot, loading it up. But eventually you have to let it go. If you don't, a slingshot holds a lot of tension, right? Over time, you're going to get tired. So if you try to hold that slingshot back, then eventually what's going to happen is your strength's going to go and the slingshot's going to come further forward until there's no more tension in it. So when you release it, it's not going to go far. What does this apply to? This applies to the people who have learned so much, but not used it well. Imagine you pull back your slingshot far, but then all you do is you work your 9-to-5 job. You stop, learning and building after that. What's going to happen? You're going to forget the stuff that you learned back in school anyway, which is what happens to most people. And then if you want to do something again, you're going to have to refresh your memory, refresh your mind. Of course, that's going to be partly due to the stuff that you may learn in the traditional education system. You may not never have to apply. Do you get what I'm saying? So, of course now, and I've heard it lots of times, people say the stuff they learn at school they never use. So you have to make sure to be successful that you use the stuff you learn. Otherwise, why are you learning it? And this is where I like the phrase. The phrase is something like, learn when required. It's something along those lines. It's need to know basis. Yeah, that's it. On a need to know basis. So you know what you want to achieve. Now you have a list of stuff that you need to know. Now you start pulling back the slingshot. Okay? What else is cool about the slingshot? If you pull back the slingshot and just let it go without aiming, you're just going to hit whatever. You don't know what you're aiming for, so you got to get the target. So when you pull back that slingshot, you got to aim. Then you let it go. What do I mean by this? Directed learning in the stuff that you want to achieve. In your vision, learn stuff that's going to help accommodate your vision. You see where we're going with this now? So that's why, if you understand this kind of metaphor, this is why I believe learning and knowledge is only the potential. You need that potential to go far, but you don't want to waste that potential. And if you hold on to it too long, what happens? It gets weak. If you learn something and then never go back to it again, which is what happens most of the time with your school, like I've said, you're going to end up just in that 9-to-5, not using any of the stuff you learned and never letting your slingshot go, never taking the shot. So that's what we're talking about today. And that's why in the Hanuman Regiment, You understand? We have directed self-study, which we'll get into a bit more. I'm going to do another video on how to, direct your self-study and come out with like some resources that you can use and stuff like that. But we have directed self-study, which is directed towards our vision. And then we also have to plan how we're going to use that knowledge. Sometimes stuff would be great to know, but we don't really need to know it unless we have that luxury. But I'm guessing if you're here, you're trying to work to build, that lifestyle and that vision. So that's the model that I call the slingshot potential. I haven't heard no one else say it like that. So if you heard it here, you probably heard it here first. I don't think there's anyone else out there who uses the slingshot potential model. That's by me, that's copyrighted. But I hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Make sure to keep learning. Make sure to keep pulling back that slingshot. But make sure you let it go. And put your vision out into the world and achieve what you want to achieve. I'll see you in the next one.